You know, the president of my HOA, the absolute queen bee of Willow Creek Estates. Her own son called 911 on me, over a smart lock I put on my own pool gate. And what happened when the cops showed up at 6 a.m.? Well, it changed everything. I just sold my security startup to Oracle, not Google, by the way, Oracle. And I was finally ready for my slice of heaven, this gorgeous 2-acre property in Prescott with a pool that just melted right into the pine forest horizon. It was supposed to be silence, peace, just the birds and the sound of my own thoughts, not constant Slack notifications. The first couple of weeks were exactly that, a dream. But then the little things started. You know, the way a type A personality notices everything. The lounge chairs were moved, definitely, and the deck had wet spots that weren't morning dew. And then my stomach just dropped when I went to check the skimmer basket. Floating there, among the leaves, was a used condom? I actually shook pulling it out. Someone wasn't just swimming in my private sanctuary. They were turning it into a frat house hotspot. I found 6 empty hard seltzer cans, cigarette butts ground into the patio, even what looked like dried vomit, behind a stone planter. My paradise was someone's party venue, and the main gate had been locked, meticulously secured. So how? I pulled the ancient, grainy security footage from the main drive, fast-forwarding until late Saturday night. And there they were, car after car, young adults piling out, 30 or 40 of them. And at the gate, acting like a nightclub bouncer, was this young guy? I'll call him Tanner. He was collecting cash from everyone, like $50 a head, before letting them through with what must have been a copied key or a stolen code. The party footage itself was worse than I imagined. Drinking, blasting music, couples getting way too intimate right there on my deck, one kid literally throwing up into my infinity pool. But the sickest part was watching Tanner at the end, counting this thick stack of hundreds, pocketing them with this smug, satisfied grin. This wasn't trespassing. This was a well-organized business. $1,500 in one night generated from my property. I immediately went out and bought the toughest smart lock I could find, an industrial-grade model with camera integration, installed it myself, made sure the camera had a clear, wide-angle view, and put up a sign that basically said, "You are being recorded. Get off my lawn." I thought that was the end of it. But boy, was I wrong. 2 hours later, there was this frantic pounding on my front door, and standing there was the living embodiment of suburban rage, the HOA president, Ms. Evelyn Marsh, in the full classic Karen uniform. She didn't even say hello, just screeched, "What is this monstrosity on your gate? I am the president of Willow Creek Estates, and that electronic eyesore violates Section 7.4.3 regarding aesthetic uniformity. You have 48 hours to remove it or face $750 daily fines, do you hear me? This neighborhood has standards." She was vibrating with anger, totally uninterested in my attempts to explain the parties, the condoms, the vomit. Just total dismissal. If you have security concerns, you file a formal request. You don't make unilateral decisions that affect our property values. As she stormed off, my lovely soft-spoken neighbor, Mr. Dennis, walked up with a fresh loaf of banana bread. "Welcome to Evelyn's kingdom," he sighed, shaking his head at the violation notice in my hand. He painted a picture of Evelyn as a fallen queen. She and her husband used to be big-time developers, until a massive failure bankrupted them, leaving her with nothing but her house and the HOA presidency, and her 22-year-old son, Tanner, who lived at home and acted like he owned the place. Then Dennis leaned in close and dropped the bomb. "She needs your pool, desperately. That infinity pool. It's been Tanner's personal cash machine for years. Those parties, $50 a head, sometimes more. That's what's been paying for their lifestyle. This wasn't just kids sneaking in. It was organized theft and profiteering." The next few days were quiet, too quiet, until 6:15 a.m. on a Thursday. I heard shouting from the pool area, grabbed my phone, and pulled up the smart lock camera feed. There was Tanner, with 3 friends in tow, yanking, kicking, screaming at the gate. "Mom said this would be fixed. This stupid lock." Then right in front of the lens, he pulled out his phone, dialed 3 numbers, and his voice instantly transformed from angry bro to panicked citizen. "Hello, help! There's a man drowning in my neighbor's pool. I can see him sinking. Oh, God, he went under and hasn't come up. The gate has some kind of electronic lock. I can't get in to save him. Please hurry." He hung up, high-fived his friend, and smirked. "That'll teach him. Cops will make him open it." 8 minutes later, 2 squad cars screeched into my driveway. I met them at the door, still in my pajamas. I stayed calm. "Officers, I will gladly open the gate, but first you need to see who called and why." I led them to my living room, pulling up the footage on the big screen. We watched Tanner's Oscar-worthy performance, the fake panic, the detailed lies. Then I paused it right where he was looking directly into the lens while dialing 911. The senior officer's face went from skeptical to stone-cold fury. "Filing. A false report that diverts emergency resources is a criminal offense," he stated grimly. They walked out, and Tanner's cocky expression completely crumbled as he saw their faces. Even after I turned my laptop around to show him the video of himself, he stammered, I thought I saw, maybe it was a shadow." Then Evelyn Marsh's Mercedes SUV screeched to a halt, and she burst out, inserting herself between Tanner and the officers. "What are you doing to my son? He was just trying to save a life." The officer calmly showed her the footage on his tablet. I watched her face transform. The righteous anger melted into shock, then pure ugly panic. As they issued Tanner an official warning, she turned her pure venom on me. "You'll regret this, Thompson. This neighborhood was perfect before. You came. Enjoy your pool while you can. That wasn't a threat, it was a declaration of war." The war started literally the next morning. Day 1. I was doing my laps when 2 police officers showed up looking deeply embarrassed. "Sir, we have a noise complaint about swimming." They were forced to tell me to maybe swim quieter, while Evelyn watched from her window, a satisfied smirk plastered on her face. Day 2. She was in my front yard on her hands and knees with a measuring tape, documenting my 3.5-inch grass for the $750 daily fine. By noon, the community page was flooded with her posts about how some people think rules don't apply to them. Day 3. Pure character assassination, posting photos of my security cameras and implying I was a paranoid tech bro surveillance enthusiast spying on neighborhood children. Every comment was a small dagger, but I refused to back down because Mr. Dennis had told me the whole ugly truth. He showed me the social media account, the infinity spot, exclusive access. Over 5,000 followers, every photo taken at my pool tagged with my address, hundreds of them going back 3 years. A fully organized criminal enterprise. Friday nights were midnight dip parties, $50. Saturdays were sunset vibes, VIP sessions, $75s, and Wednesdays were Evelyn's private swimming lessons, $100 hour. My conservative math put their illegal revenue at over $600,000 in 3 years, all through their unregistered shell company, Marsh Events LLC, and not a cent reported to the IRS. Worse, I found news reports about at least 3 teens who'd ended up in the ER with alcohol poisoning after attending these parties. They weren't just thieves, they were endangering children. I saved everything, all 847 posts, every video, every calculation. But the smoking gun was that video from last month, where Evelyn was lecturing Tanner about profits. This month, I'm taking 80%. I handle the cops, the neighbors, the HOA. That's worth 80%. I realized she was using her HOA power as a shield to protect a 6-figure crime ring. I decided to take the fight public. I registered to speak at the monthly HOA meeting, while Evelyn, sensing danger, tried to get me fined $5,000 before I could open my mouth. And she succeeded, 47 hands shooting up to condemn the outsider. Motion carries. She banged her gavel, her smile triumphant. "Now, Mr. Thompson, you registered to speak about security concerns?" I stood up, connected my laptop, and clicked to the first slide. A high-res photo of my trash can full of seltzer cans and the condom. "This is what I found," I stated calmly. The room murmured. I clicked again. The grainy video of Tanner collecting cash at my gate. The murmuring turned to gasps. I clicked again. The Infinity Spot social media page, 5,000 followers, tagged. At my address. Parents were pulling out their phones, instantly recognizing their kids in the photos. They've been selling access to his pool. Someone yelled. Then came the Excel sheet. $200,000 annual revenue. $600,000 over 3 years. 0 reported to the IRS. The room was pure pandemonium. Evelyn was frantically banging her gavel, screaming, "These are all edited deep fakes. I demand you stop." But I wasn't done. I hit play on the final video. Evelyn's own voice booming from the speakers. "I handle the cops, the neighbors, the HOA. That's worth 80%. The room went dead silent. That's when a woman in the third row, face purple with rage, stood. "Shaking a hospital bill. My daughter is in the ICU right now. $47,000 in medical bills because of your illegal parties, Evelyn." It was the dam breaking. Suddenly, everyone was screaming, demanding answers about the HOA money, the lies, the sheer danger. Tanner tried to bolt for the door, but Mr. Dennis, who was quietly filming the whole time, blocked his path. My final slide appeared. I sent all of this evidence to the appropriate authorities 3 hours ago. And on cue, the doors opened and 2 IRS agents in dark suits walked in, followed by local police. "Evelyn Marsh?" one agent asked. Her face went bone white. She tried to run, stumbled over a purse, and ended up face first on the carpet. The police helped her up. She was screaming, "I want my lawyer, this is entrapment." But no one was listening. The room, which had voted to fine me just minutes ago, erupted in applause, giving me a standing ovation as the HOA president was led, away in handcuffs. Evelyn is currently serving 5 to 7 years for tax evasion, fraud, and child endangerment. Tanner was ordered to stay 500 feet from my property and work 300 hours at a youth substance abuse center. A truly fitting sentence. As for me, I installed a giant 6-foot sign next to my pool. Private property. AI facial recognition active. Tanner Marsh detected. Just automatic police response. It works perfectly every single time. And the ultimate irony? I was elected the new HOA president with 98% of the vote. That $200 smart lock wasn't just security. It was a key to justice. But here's the thing. I want to know what you think. Given the chance, would you have publicly humiliated Evelyn at, say, the HOA meeting, or just quietly handed the evidence to the IRS? And what was Tanner's worst crime, stealing the money or faking the 911 call? Drop your city and your take in the comments below. Let's map out where the HOA drama is the craziest. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of justice served cold.